kick this off. Thanks everybody for joining us today. I'm Mike Morgan. I am the chair of APADC. I'm going to share my screen here very briefly. Bear with me one moment. Okay. Right, here we go. Yeah, just in case you're new to APA, we are a nonprofit trade organization for photographers. APA does a ton of work around the country. Our DC chapter, we're really about creating community here in DC among photographers. But APA nationally does a ton of work behind the scenes for photographers. Defending copyright and helping to educate people about how to run their businesses. So I want to tell you about a few of our local events that are coming up. This weekend, it's members only, we've got our annual barbecue and picnic. It's going to be at Haynes Point on Saturday from 11 to 2. Hope you all can join us. It's for members and their families. So we'll have food, music, games, and just hanging out, having a good time. Then later in the month, on the 29th, we've got part of our quarterly Focus on Wellness series where we try to do something kind of a little health conscious. We're having our yoga workshop for photographers and creatives. That's being hosted by Hanale Lati. She's one of our board members, but she's also a certified yoga instructor. So she'll be helping to do yoga to help provide longevity to your career, help you get ready for those big shoots and kind of make it through all the stress of being a photographer. Then we've got next month our happy hour, and we will be actually honoring Chantal at that and celebrating her big win. So I hope you can join us for that Tuesday, October 8th at Shaw's Tavern. And then also in October, we've got our annual field trip to the Glenstone Museum. That's for APA members only. That is, if you haven't been to that museum, it's unlike any museum anywhere. It's spectacular. Truly hope you can join us for that. And then November, we've got our 30 minutes lined up with Caroline Gutman. Caroline's a incredible photographer, a Fulbright scholar, does a ton of work for the New York Times. Should be a very interesting talk. And want to also point out, if you are a member or not a member, be aware of our member benefits and discounts. All kinds of great things. You're probably already utilizing a lot of these companies for your gear, for your travel, for your business. If you're a member, there are discounts you could be taking advantage of, and make sure you're taking advantage of that. If you're not a member, please keep this in mind. And to become a member, we can get you $20 off any level of membership. Just use the code DC1 for 20, and please join us. Okay, all right, and with that, I'm going to turn things over to Chantal Evans. She is only the second member from Washington, D.C. to win Best in Show in the APA Awards. So it's a huge honor. We're super excited for her. And yeah, very proud to call her one of our colleagues. So Chantal, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you and let you take it away. Thanks so much.
Well, hello everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Chantal Evans. Feel free to call me Telly. That's actually my nickname, and everyone calls me Telly. I just want to thank you all for taking time out of your day to spend with me and just go over my portfolio and learn a little bit more about who I am. So I am an Afro-Latina photographer and set designer based in the DMV. And currently the types of work that I do, I'm a commercial photographer. I do e-com product. I also specialize in editorials, portraiture, and then also events. And then our timeline for today, I'm going to be talking about and showing you guys the evolution of my work. So you can see like the progression where I started and then where I'm at now. And then I'm going to be showing you guys some of my set design projects that I created and then also was a part of. And then we'll go over the winning photo, which I'm really excited to talk about, and then Q&A. Okay, so I know it says 2013, but it actually all started in 2012. I was hanging out with a friend, and they had a little point and shoot camera with them when we were hanging out. Um, they allowed me to use it, so I just shot around my neighborhood, friends, like whatever I could. And that was like the day that I fell in love with photography. It was just something so like fascinating and like I was captivated by, because at the time, I believe I had like a BlackBerry and like iPhones were like fairly new. So using like your phone for like photography wasn't as big, but it was just something looking through the viewfinder that like really got me. And it wasn't until 2013 where I got my first camera. I was working at Famous Days at the time. I was in the restaurant industry as like a host and server, and I saved up a bunch of money. I don't even know if it was a bunch of money. I think it was around like $1,000. But I took myself into Best Buy and purchased my first camera, which was a Nikon D5100. I don't even think it was full frame, and it came with like a little kit lens and like on camera flash. Um, but in 2013, I started off primarily just taking photos of nature and whatever I could. And right here is one of my favorite photos with like the tree. Um, I was playing around with like perspectives and really like training my eye to see things differently. So moving forward, I also did like a lot of self portraits. Um, and in this slide, you can see uh, me like on a background. I used to put up like the tripod self timer and like run over and get in the shot before the camera went off. And I would also play around with like Photoshop and Lightroom. I knew nothing about it, but I landed on like a setting that was able to allow me to like flip my images. So I did a lot of like reflections within the photos. And I also do want to talk about like this time period for me. I was going through a lot in my life, and my stepdad had like recently passed away. So like my home life and just personal life was like very chaotic, and photography was like the one like healthy outlet for me where I could just go out, shoot, and just kind of like forget about everything. Um, and after I was tired of shooting myself, I like moved on to shooting my friends. And this guy right here, his name is Fakir. He's one of my really good friends, but back in the day, like I used to love shooting him. He's always been very stylish, and we would just like go out and shoot. But you'll also be seeing him throughout my work, which is going to be really cool. And you'll see like the progression and how that looks. Here's another shoot that I've done in 2013. This was like my middle school friend and then a coworker. We just all kind of like went out to Damascus and found like this cornfield that was like shaved, and we just shot in that field. And then this photo right here is very important. It's my little cousin. Her name is Yvette. She lives in Seattle, but she was around here at the time. And she took me to this really cool place in West Virginia. As you can see, there's like little caves where like boats can go in. But we went there to shoot, and this is when Telly's Vision was born. And that's like where I came up with my artist name. So this photo is like very important to me with the birth of Telly's Vision. And then fast forward to 2014 through 2016, you'll start to see my color grading getting better and also composition. These are self portraits of me. I was getting a little bit like more creative as far as like what I would wear and what I would do. And then, of course, I'll still be shooting my friends. And I really love shooting my friends too, because one, I had no idea what I was doing, but there was just like a comfort level that I had with them. They didn't judge me, and I could just like do whatever. And then again, this is my cousin. Some of my street photography and then also nature photography. So that was getting better as well in the color grading. And then I got the opportunity to shoot for this sushi place in the Kentlands called Kanaki. It was really cool. I had no idea about food photography, but I just went in there and just kind of played around with my perspectives. And then fast forward to 2017 through 2019, um, that's when I feel like you really started to see the development within like my skills. my color grading got better, and then also I was getting more creative with like the concepts that I was doing. So still shooting friends, but I would take them out to really cool locations, and then like whatever clothing that they have that fit the concept, I would ask them to wear. There's Bakir again. And then you guys will see a lot of repeating faces in like the earlier stage. This is Nyla. This is my best friend's cousin. So beautiful. They're Trinidadian. And her mother or her stepmother, she would make these custom costumes for Carnival. So we went out and shot that, which was really pretty cool. And then it was 2020, and I feel like 2020 was a very pivotal moment for me or time period because COVID happened. And at the time, I was still working in the restaurant industry, and I was like very unhappy. Photography was a like side hustle, like part-time job. So 2020 allowed me to really like take a step back and be real with myself as far as like what I wanted to do. Um, and here's an image that I took of my really good friend James. We went out to, I believe it's like Brookside Gardens, but I saw like these huge leaves, and then I just wanted to like place him in the middle of it, which was really nice. And then you'll see like more of my creative concepts come to life. And also too, I started utilizing Instagram more. So I would find people who were very interesting as far as like their looks to me. And I loved her look. She was like tatted up, crazy hair, and like different types of makeup. So we got together, we went to Union Market, and I shot her there. That was one look, and this was the second look. It was like strawberry lemonade because of her hair. And then she also randomly had like a strawberry lemonade bottle. So it was perfect how that ended up. Um, Also too, I'm just gonna like go through the slides. There's a lot of slides that I created, but I just wanted to show you all my work. And also feel free, like if you have any questions, you can definitely like, hop in and ask me. This was a really cool concept, actually. It's called Checkmate. I found these two twins, and this is when I started like really collaborating with like other creators. I got like a makeup artist to help me out, which was like pretty new for me. And then my friend, he has like his own like thrift store, so I was able to thrift these vintage suits and use them for the models. This was another one of my collaborative shoots where I pulled in a makeup artist. Um, and then here's Bakir again. This was actually in his backyard, and randomly I had like a ladder in my trunk, and he just had a really cool fit on that went with the ladder and like the whole aesthetic. So that was pretty nice. And this is a photo shoot that I actually collaborated with Bakir. He styled this for me. And this is his house. He lives in Baltimore, so it's a very like historical house. Wood floors, beams, really pretty. And I don't know, I had like a couple noodles with me and just kind of like went with the vibe. And I had like red spray paint that I painted the model's hair with, and everything just kind of like went together. And this photo is my favorite photo of all time that I've ever taken. It's of Bakir. We went to Patapsco State Park. He had this like really cool snakeskin matching set. And I just loved the way the rocks looked in the water. So I asked him to get in, but I didn't want him to be like submerged in water. So he just kind of like laid there. And I so happened to just take this perfect photo. And yeah, this is my favorite photo. A little bit more from that set. And then you guys can also see me playing with my angles. And this one happens to be one of my favorites too. I would say top five. I just like how low I got. I accidentally got like the bird in there, but I guess it's not accidental. And also, I just love like the color theory in here, how like the red plays with the blues. I think that's really nice. And then towards the end of 2020, I think it was like either October or November, but that was the first time that I've been to like a legit studio. Um, this woman up here, her name is, or her artist name is Melanated Martian, and she invited me to the dojo. They used to have like dojo night. I believe it was on Tuesdays in the evening, but it was my first time going, and they had like a couple of different setups. One in the corner with different like moody lighting, and then they had like the main one with like your key light. But they had models there, other photographers, videographers, creatives, and like prior to me going, I feel like my circle, my community of other creators is very small. I only knew like a handful of photographers from like afar, but no one like in my close circle. So it was just really cool to be around so much energy, creativity, and this is actually pretty funny. But when I went in there and I was very curious to use the setup, so they kind of like pushed me into one, and they handed me a trigger for your lights, and I had no idea how to use it. Like I was so confused. I needed help, but they ended up helping me out, and these are the images that I got. So moving forward to 2021, that's when I really started learning more like studio lighting. Um, Prior to this, I would use like the on-camera flash that came with my camera, or you remember like Amazon used to have like those little cheap continuous lights, just like one modifier, and that was it. So I was like used to that, but as far as like strobes go, I had no idea. So I definitely wanted to practice, and here are some of like the earlier photos from me learning lighting. This is my best friend. He actually booked me to do um, some branding photos for him and his business. He's an amazing hairstylist. So this was like really cool for me to just practice on someone that I was like comfortable with, but the photos came out not so bad. And then I got my friend, she has her own clothing line, it's athletic wear. So I got to shoot for her. And this is definitely the earlier stages. um, And then here is when I got a residency at 52 O Street in DC. The studio was from Creative Hands, but I think this definitely helped me out because having a membership, I wasn't so like limited on time versus like renting out a studio from Peerspace. You have like however much time you booked. But being in 52 O Street, I was able to just kind of like play around more and not being under time limits. So here is some of my work from there. And then, yeah, so being at 52 O Street, just playing with different lighting setups. I believe this one was like an overhead. So creating like very like moody shots. And I love this one too, just because of like the mirror and how it like reflected. And you guys know, like I used to love reflections like back in the day. So this was pretty cool not having to like edit that in the work. And this one is really cool. This is probably one of my favorite top 5 shoots I've done. Her name is like Nia, and we shot one random day. I just told her to come through, and I just loved her fit. She was giving me like Trinity from the Matrix, so I created like a moody light that emulated that. And this is my friend Melanie. She's a DJ, and we're in the studio again, just playing around, and we did some really cool things in there. And then she had this like really dope cowboy hat that I loved. And then this photo right here happens to be my second favorite photo that I've ever taken. I just like, you know, her skin tone, how like the background matches, and also the shadows. And if you could see with the photos that I've been showing you guys, you would notice that I really love shadows, blacks, and then also contrasts. So that's definitely my style. This one is a natural light shoot, but you can kind of see 52 O Street studio and how it has like the brick wall, wood floors, which is really cool. This is one of my water shoots that I've done. Beautiful models. This one I love so much in the middle. I asked Nicole, that's the model, to like get down and like flip her hair, and then it just came out so perfect. Like the facial expression and then how the water is coming off the ends of her hair. And then this one's really cool. Her name is Jessica, and I believe I went to Watkins Mill High School, and after school, or even like midday for like lunch, I would walk out, and there used to be like this like abandoned golf course. So I found this really cool like power line thing, and like I walked under it, but I always like took a mental note that I wanted to shoot there. And I got this really cool like zebra blazer, and everything just kind of like came out perfectly. Here's a little bit more from that set. And the low angles are definitely my faves. And then I love this photo too. I know I keep saying I love these photos, but I really do. And then here is another point. I ended my membership at 52 O Street, and then that's when I got a membership at the dojo. And I really loved it because it was a bigger space. They had more backdrops for me to play with, different like props, and then also they used pro photo, so that was like an introduction to that as well. And there goes Bakir again. And then I'm just gonna go through these slides just to show you guys my work from the dojo. And this is my shoot. It's called Pick Up the Phone Baby. I use the phone, like a vintage phone, but the song is Travis Scott's. And when I seen it, it just kind of like clicked to me. But this shoot was really cool. This is when I actually brought like a team in with me, as far as like a videographer, hairstylist, makeup. We had like a whole team, and something very new to me because I always work like solo or there's one other person helping me out, whether that's like a stylist or makeup. So this one was really cool. And I like this shoot a lot with the black and white. I met this girl at like a networking event, and I just loved her body. It was very like muscular, so I just had this vision of shooting her like all oiled up and nude, white background, and then just like her skin tone that contrast that. And this photo shoot was really dope. I don't know if you guys know of Lindsay Adler, but she's one of my favorite photographers. She's based in New York. She is known for using color a lot. So she did like a photo shoot with dark skin tone that really inspired me. So I kind of like recreated my own. And this one reminded me of like the moon, and it's like the moonlight, how you get like the blues, but then like the highlight from the moon, which is really cool. And Lindsay Adler also has her own lighting modifier. It's called an optical spot, where you're able to go ahead and like split light. So this was me practicing using her light modifier. And here's another example. This has to be top five too. But I just love like her eyes and just how the lighting is just coming across. And then on the side, you get the rim light of the red hitting the background. Some more photos from that. And I also was playing with a star filter. That's why you see those reflections from her ring. And I was used to shooting like light in the studio, but I started bringing my light like on location. And here's one of them. It's one of my lifestyle photo shoots. And this slide right here, I found this location in DC, and this is another example of me like taking a mental note of the locations and then coming back to it. But I wanted to do two models in the photo shoots and get a bunch of watermelons, match their outfit, just really have that like contrast and color theory within the photo shoot. There's another one I did at the Mira Hotel. I love the tones in here, the blues, and then also like the silver. This was also at the Mira Hotel, but we actually ended up using like the side of the lobby, which was really nice, getting that natural lighting. Okay, so those are all my photos that I wanted to share, and now I'm going to share with you guys some of my set design projects, and then also some set design jobs that I was on. So back in 2018, I did a series called 25 Days of Christmas, and this is one of the photo shoots that I did, and it's called Bad Santa. And it's from, I don't know if you guys ever seen Friday, but they have like Friday After Next, where it's like the Santa Claus, he goes around like robbing people, whatever. It's kind of crazy, but I wanted to remake it. There was an abandoned house that I found somewhere in Germantown. So I got like a Christmas tree, lights, wrapped presents, Santa sack, got the whole suit, and I got my friend to be my bad Santa. And then you'll see him like carrying in the presents, looking at the presents, and I like how he really embodied that like bad Santa energy. This is also in the same um, abandoned house. They had like an upstairs, and I really loved this room just because how it looked and like the ceiling was falling off. But also, if you look at the walls, it's like different tones coming out, which is really nice. So here, I didn't bring anything with me, maybe just like a few things, but I went around like the house and found like really cool items that I could use. So one of them was like the bed spring, so I propped that up against the wall. I found clothing rack and just took some clothing from around the house. They had like a desk in there, a little chest, and then also they had a suitcase. So I just picked up the little books and put it in there, and placed everything how I wanted it to be. And then this shoot is called FA, and that in Spanish means boss. So he was giving me boss vibes. um, and this is like my second favorite photo I've ever taken in the middle. I just love where I was. I was up against the wall behind the box spring, and I just shot through it. Oops. I just shot through it, but I just liked how everything was positioned and what he was doing. And then here is a few photos from the actual set and how I set it up. And I love this little shoe picture. Like, I just like how the lighting was coming through from the back, and then you get like the shadows. Super dope. And then one of my really good friends, Walter, he's a production designer, and I shared with him that I wanted to learn more about like set designing. So he actually brought me into one of the dopest set design jobs I was ever on, and it was for Hanifa. She's a Black owned women's brand based in the DMV. Um, but it was really dope. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention that these photos aren't by me. They're actually by Boomy, and his Instagram is Kid August. He did a really good job with the photos. Um, this set design job was really cool, and just to see something like on a bigger scale, on like a commercial level, working with like a brand, that was something new and amazing to me. And this shoot actually reminded me of like the Matrix too. Like, I love like the dark and like the green, how like the lights lit up right here. You have like your overhead lighting, and this model was giving, she really like served that. Here's some more behind the scene photos, and then in the middle you'll see us putting the vinyl on the floor. At first it was like tricky until we kind of got like a good flow going, but you see us in action down here. And then this is another set design job from Hanifa. This was for her comfort collection. This one was like really, really cool. We played around with these like huge, large drapes that we kind of like mounted on like these little beams on the walls, and just used clips to mount them on the ceiling. And then after, this was like the final product and how everything turned out. And this is actually the owner of Hanifa. Her name is Anifa, but she's super nice, super dope, beautiful, and she was pregnant at the time. So they did her maternity shoot, which was really cool to see too. And then another one, Hanifa, this was her Bloom Part 2. The set design wasn't as like difficult or anything like that, but we got like a 20-foot by 10 and hung it up in like this huge warehouse, kind of similar to the one I'm in now, but just with higher ceilings. But they had like a whole videographer team come out, and it was really, really cool. And here are some of the behind the scenes photos. I took these, and then I asked someone to take that of me, so see a little bit of me. And the photographer here, she is super dope. Like, she's great at directing. So it was really cool to see how she interacted with the models. But just being on set around other creators on this scale is pretty dope. And then here's one of my personal projects. It's actually called Pearls Are a Girl's Best Friend. I collaborated with a designer. Her brand, I believe, is called Nine Muse, and she lended me like these really cool corsets. So I just came up with my own concept, where it's just very like vintage, luxury, very soft. So I put together this whole set, and my friend, she also does set designing. She had these PVC pipes that you can make into like a cube. So she let me borrow these, and I actually created that at the dojo. So it was like a little cube room within like the middle of the studio. And I got these velvet curtains for a rug, and I thrifted all these like vintage props, which was really nice. And then I had a second model come in, and her piece was a little bit different. It was more like a beaded jewel top. She had like a fro, so it was pretty dope. And I just switched up a little bit of the scene, so it gave like a little bit of a difference. And this is one of my projects. It was for Valentine's Day, and the inspiration came from like the little um, I Heart candies that you get in the box, but I wanted to make the candies like huge and like more like real life. So I made these out of like a cardboard box actually, and like shaped them, glued them together, covered them with spackle, sanded, painted them up, and the ones that you see kind of like floating around, I actually found them like at the dollar store. They had like these like foam hearts, which was perfect because I didn't feel like doing the same process that I just did for the big hearts. So that was really nice. All I had to do was paint them up, sand them down, and then hang them when I got there. So yeah, and then I collaborated with a really dope hairstylist. Her Instagram is Ariana Canvas. Shout out to her because she killed the hair. I told her what I envisioned for it, and she definitely executed, which was amazing. And here's some more photos from Candy Hearts. And here is another Valentine's Day shoot. Ariana was on this photo or this shoot as well. So this one was tricky. I wanted to make giant roses. So I got like foam, it was like paper foam, and I molded it all up, painted it so it gave like real rose petals and like that ombre that a rose has. And I glued it all together. This project was, it was very tiring and a lot. I burnt myself. I had my roommate help me, but I just love how it turned out. And I made like a little custom like top that was attached to her, so everything came together. Um, some more photos from that. All right, so moving on to the winning photo. This is my concept eggs, and it's just eggs everywhere. Egg balls, eggs head, egg pasties, eggs on the table, the plate, you name it. um, but I wanted to talk a little bit about like the inspiration that it came from. So I seen this photo on Pinterest, and it was like a random day. I was just searching up like really cool eye makeup, and I stumbled upon this one right here. Um, I had like a little photo of my sketch. It's not actually up there, but once I seen this like eye makeup, I had like a vision. So I sketched everything out, and I had like the blue walls, the person, the eggs on the table. So yeah, that was me getting my vision out on paper. And this is a little behind the scenes of me creating the walls. Sorry. And this was my first time building something like this big. I went to Home Depot, got like 8x4s, 2x3s. I had everything up, built the perimeters, and then like now I'm painting. And that's my homegirl Taylor. Shout out to her for helping me because it was a lot of work. I split up this project, I believe, into 3 days making the walls and then one shooting day. So after the walls were made and like painted up, now I'm going in to create the stencils, um, and then going ahead and like switching them out and painting the wall. And then here I'm just like spray painting all the props that I'm going to use because I really wanted everything to be blue and yellow. Just going in and then doing a second coat of the eggs and then painting on the yolks. And then here is the shoot day. So the model's getting her makeup done. And then I'll go ahead and put on the egg wig that I made, which is actually like something different. I don't do hair, but I had no one to help me out with the hair. So I was like, I gotta get this egg head shape going. So my best friend who does hair, he told me what to do. So I did that and just shaped everything up. And it actually came out really nice. And then now we're just shooting and getting the award-winning photo. And also, I do want to shout out my really good friend, Rel. He's the one that helped me out do the behind the scenes video for this. So I really appreciate you for capturing this like really big shoot and special moment for me. All right, so that is the video. And then I do want to share more photos from that set. This one was really cool. This is the only like horizontal photo that I did, but I wanted to do just something like over her and showcase the like newspaper. I actually photoshopped a whole article in there. Please don't zoom in and read it, but I wanted to photoshop that in there and just make it very like customizable to Telly's vision. Some more photos that I've done. Yes. All right, and that is all. I did want to leave this page up. If you guys wanted to connect, you can follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram. I also have Thread, and then you can view my website too. If you need to get in contact with me, then my email's at the bottom. But yes, thank you guys so much for listening to me. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Awesome. That was incredibly inspiring. I don't, Chantal, if you want to go ahead and you can stop sharing this your
Oh,
screen.
sorry. Okay, there we go.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Yeah, we can go ahead and take some questions. I mean, I'll go ahead and kick it off with one. So I'm just kind of curious. As you're getting started, obviously you had this great vision, and and then you were moving along, kind of figuring out how to execute it. What were your initial inspirations? Like where did your point of view and your drive for all of this come from?
From the earlier days or the egg photo shoot?
Well, I think from the earlier days, and then how did that change as your career progressed?
Honestly, I feel like I got a lot of inspiration, like at first from just shooting, but after that, I was like, I really like fashion, so I was trying to incorporate that more, and then also finding like really cool locations so I could like start storytelling with my work. So it really just came from like my day to day life and like what I saw and like what inspired me to, yeah, create.
Excellent. And tell us a little bit about the kind of work you're doing right now, and what your plans are for the future, what your goals are.
Sure. At the moment, I'm actually doing more commercial work. I can actually show you guys too, but I shoot e-com right now for Under Armour. So we do like their on-model sets and also product photography. Can you guys see my screen? Forgot
Oh, no.
it. Okay. Um, Let me actually share that really quickly. You can see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I shoot on model and also product photography right now for Under Armour. So that's like my day to day 9 to 5 job. And then my free time, I'll go ahead and like freelance. I'll do like events and then also, of course, do my editorials and portrait shoots. Um, but I'm at a point now too where I am in a transitional phase and I'm going to start doing more commercial work, but more in fashion and beauty. And I definitely want to go ahead and showcase like my style and then like merge the two as far as like coming like commercial and like personal, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And then tell me a little bit about how you went about, you know, like I'm not sure what you were doing at this stage of your life when you first started out, but can you talk a little bit about that transition from, having this interest in photography to, um, ending up with a full-time job, shooting the ecom for Under Armour? Like how did that process happen, and how did you get from being like, hey, I just love doing these photos, to now I'm working as a full-time photographer?
Hmm. I think like when I started off, it was definitely just doing it for fun. And then I would tell like my coworkers about it. So little by little, they would start like booking me for like their events. And then I would just be booked for other things like weddings, nonprofits, shoot a lot of events. Um, but I really showcase like my personal work because I feel like that's definitely what got me noticed. And our project manager from Under Armour, she actually found me through Instagram and she reached out to me and asked me to come in, and I ended up loving it. So it's kind of crazy how everything kind of like fell together, but that's how I got into Under Armour and started doing work with them.
That's a response. That's really great. I know that you kind of have a hard out time around now. So I don't know if anybody had any questions. You can feel free to put them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself.
Oh,
Um,
all right.
yeah.
I had a quick question here. Love the work. I was gonna say, how often are you shooting concepts or just telling someone to pull up and we'll figure something out and like shoot on the spot?
Right now, I would say I shoot my concepts, but not as frequently as I did before. And I also, right now, it's everything is planned out. So I don't just shoot to shoot anymore. Like everything is very like strategic and has like a purpose to why I'm shooting it.
Copy that. I have one more quick one too. So you said you take mental notes of locations and stuff, but are you like using like a an app to keep track of them, or are you just like writing it down old school style, or just
It's really like mental. So like I'll see it and then like I'll see like a whole vision and I'm like I want to shoot there and then like I'll see like a whole photo shoot in my head, but I'll just like leave it there. But when the time comes to actually like execute it, that's when I'll go ahead and start doing like my concept development and like making a mood board and shot lists and all of that.
right on? Love to hear it. That's
Thank
all
you.
I had, guys.
Nice to see you, by the way.
Thank you. Nice to see you too.
Thank you.
Right. Well, all right. I think we can go ahead and wrap up. Chantal, thank you so much for spending the time with us today, sharing all of your work. Congratulations on your award. So much of the work that you've done, I feel like should be award winning. So but we are just super proud to have you a member of APADC and to be getting this recognition. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. Yeah, and then hope everybody can join us at our October happy hour and to meet Chantal and yeah and help us celebrate her big achievement.
Thank you.
So
Can I say one last thing?
of course.
I do want to shout out my best friend Taylor. She is also a part of APA, but for the longest time, I think about a year, she was pushing me to join, and I'm like a procrastinator, so I would just like push it off, until one day I was like, you know what, I'm tired of her telling me, so I just joined. So shout out to Taylor for continuously pushing me. I appreciate you, and thank you all for tuning in to see my work and the evolution of it, and then also learn a little bit more about me. So thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you. And thank you to Taylor as well. That's awesome. Love to hear it. Okay. All right. Well, I thank you again, everybody, for joining us. And yeah, we'll hope to see all of you soon. Okay.
Take care,
And
guys.
don't